It was fantastic to watch the Essendon Football Club last night. They were so good against the Giants, 6-2-1. They are third on the ladder. Leigh, how deep can the Bombers go this year?
Yeah, I think they were content about halfway through the third quarter yesterday when the Giants were in front of them early, and then the Essendon picked them up and got some really intensity into the game. And about halfway through that third quarter, I think Essendon are contender too. They're doing well enough this year to think they could potentially go all the way. Not saying much, their win-loss ratio deserves that. So I thought they were exceptional. Remember the last few games at the end of last year, Essendon were terrible. They got thrashed by 130-odd points by the Giants up in Sydney. So the fact that all their players just seem to be playing better. We know Ben Mackay's come in, Goldstein's doing well in the ruck, but a lot Langford's playing his career best, so is Stringer. So they've got players all over the place. And we look at that list there, Durham, Perkins, Langford, Heppel sort of having a bit of a rejuvenated year after dropping off a little bit. McGrath's been good. Yeah, Ben Mackay, Jade Gresham, and not so much Dursma. I wouldn't have thought he's hasn't done that much to my eye, but they look a really solid team. Really that midfield group that's backed up now. Merritt, who's been good for a long time, and Parrish. That's a really tough group in there now. Yeah,
I walked away from yesterday's game, Tom and Leigh, and I thought the Port Adelaide game from a few weeks ago, which was, at the time you go, oh, same old Essendon, a bit flighty, they can serve up some good stuff. But walking away from the game yesterday and you back it up with those numbers and the improvement of players, I think that's the outlier.
Port game is.
Yeah, the Port game is. And every side has had a mulligan or a game they'd like back. We just highlighted Richmond beating the Sydney Swans. The Cats weren't great the other night down against Port Adelaide. I think all the sides are going to serve up a week like this just because of the nature of the fixture and injuries alike, travel, all that sort of stuff. But there's a toughness about them. You're throwing Caldwell and Durham, which we've highlighted. Perkins now flushing through the midfield. I like their small and medium backs, the mix as well. Martin's got a role, and it's just ping and go, because off the back of Redmond playing defensive, Heppel back there, you throw in also McGrath, who's taken the opposition's best and still winning the footy. Goldstein's giving them great footy. I think the one little element is just when they get to the big games, just some ball movement going inside forward 50 to that man Langford, who is just a gun. He just finds space inside forward 50 like no other.
Probably the most overused stat, but it's relevant now, is they haven't won a final in 20 years. Can they contend? Leigh Matthews thinks they can. Can they contend for
I think they can get themselves in a good position too, and then we'll all just judge them on that first final, and Essendon fans will be hoping this is the year.
Leigh, I just love the fact that we've spoken about their list management a number of times and the way that they maybe haven't hit with every single draft pick, not yet at least, but they brought Ben Mackay in, Jade Gresham via free agency, Sam Durham was picked 9 in the 2021 mid-season draft. But let me ask you about Ben Mackay specifically. He hardly played in a win at North Melbourne and he's played in 6 already.
Yeah, well, he's impressed me all year because the anchor point is that big defender who can play on the opposition's main marking target. And he was playing on Jesse Hogan early, and they took half a dozen marks each in the first half, which was unusual. Hogan got his couple of goals, but then eventually Mackay got on top completely in that position, and Hogan didn't really hardly touch the ball in the second half. So that anchor point, the big, strong defender who can play on the opposition's big, strong forward, they've now got one who's doing a really good job.
Yeah, and that's their next 4, and you'd say they pretty much start favourites in the next 3, although the Suns game could be a bit difficult up there, and then a cracker against the Blues. That matchup, Mackay and Hogan, was almost like a game of Jack in the Pack in the first half, or marks up. But for me, the Giants, and I just want to throw to Adam Kingsley's comments post-game.
But we do need to sharpen up our game and make sure that by the end of the season we're playing our best footy. Okay, and our challenge between now and then is to be able to generate enough wins to actually qualify for finals. That's our first objective, and based on our last month of footy, we're going to fail to do that. And so we need to address a couple of things. I think today we were beaten by a more desperate team. Last week we were beaten by a more desperate team, and so we need to tidy up some of that. We need to tidy up some of our fundamentals.
I think the coach absolutely nailed it. And Tom, the other week I said the Giants need to tidy up the detail. The detail is the fundamentals and attention to little things in the game. Look at all the fumbling here. Under pressure, bounces the ball behind him, but it's the follow-up. Fumble again, you see another fumble, then you'll see a missed tackle from good quality players as well mixed in there. Where they get free here, the Bombers. Handball to nobody. The next one that gets picked up is actually saved by Bedford here, who rips out of the contest. but then the next handball is behind and it's behind the next player. It's just the attention to detail, and this is why the Giants at the moment are going a good quarter, bad quarter, or good half and then get touched up. The opposition knows if they can keep applying the pressure, the ball will be coughed up because the spread, and I know they're wanting to play with the tsunami, but you can only do the tsunami if the fundamentals are taken care of. This is Matt Guelphy here, who did a fantastic job on Lachie Whitfield. Went to him, annoyed him, kicked 3 goals. He's in the circle there. Not one single Giants player has handed over here or any communication. Guelphy's in a jog here. He hasn't exactly sprinted inside forward 50 or work rate. The amount of time he takes to get free, he lines up and kicks a goal. This is Martin at the back. What do you think he does most games? Runs and gets the footy. Starts it in the pocket. He comes through the screen. He's gone past 3 Giants. Next Giant's not communicating to roll up again. He's had it twice and carried the ball pretty much 70 metres. There's an inside forward 50. So attention to detail of what the opposition's doing to you.
And Guelphy did a great job on Lachie Whitfield. But in the pre-season, Jimmy, the Giants spoke about how fit they were, how strong they were. Twice now they've been overrun at Marvel Stadium after being 20 points up against Carlton first and now Essendon. Are you concerned that they maybe don't have the fitness that they thought they had a few weeks ago?
No, it's not a fitness issue. You'll look unfit if you're chasing backside all day. And it's off the back of not taking the ball cleanly, not executing skills, missing targets inside forward 50. And again, like I said, do you know what Nick Martin does every week? If I went around to the local primary school, they say, do you know what Nick Martin does at halfback? He runs and gets the footy.
Yep.
So you might want to watch him running out of the back 50.